Welcome back. It is Tuesday, February 27th in the NBA. My 5 best bets are on the way. It's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's recap how we did yesterday. Another winning day for us. Let's talk about a 2-in-1 day. I gave out De'Aaron Fox's over in points plus rebounds. Nearly hit that over in points alone. He crushed that line. Pitt Logan with another winner. Pacers team total under 124.5. An absolute sweat, but it did cash. And our only loser of the day, Jalen Brunson's under. Kicking myself. He went over with 3 minutes left. I was either doing his over in points or his under in points or his over in assists. I just thought he would get his teammates involved, and he did. He had 12 assists. He just obviously made a lot of free throws and obviously scored a lot of points as they barely beat the Pistons. But I'm not worrying about a 2-in-1 day. Let's hopefully try to bring out those brooms once again today. We got 5 picks incoming on a 10-2 run, and the ladder challenge will return tomorrow. I know I said it would return today, but I got a long day of traveling ahead. I don't really want to force a ladder out there. So we got 5 picks. That's enough of action going on in this big NBA slate. The ladder should return tomorrow. So get amped up for that. Without further ado, though, we got 5 picks. We need to dive right into them. If we have been making you guys some money, there's a couple things you guys can do. 100% free. You can hit that subscribe button and hit that like button too. That's 100% free. Show us some love. We certainly do appreciate it. Rain or shine, we're pumping out these videos for you. It's 2 a.m. New Zealand time. I'm still out here recording. Logan will give out his favorite pick in a few moments. But without further ado, you can do that. That's free. And if we've been making you some money, you're like, hey, you know what? I want to give back to the hand that feeds me. You can definitely join our DubClub. It's only $5.99 a month. Less than $6, pretty solid. You get to join our Discord, which you get to celebrate with us, and you can ask us questions. Maybe you're like, how do you feel about this guy? Easier to ping us there than it is to drop a comment, which we get a lot of comments, which we certainly do appreciate it. And you get all our picks early. Certainly one of the best perks out there because these lines are going to move, and they almost move about 99% of the time in our direction. So if you want to get the best lines possible, definitely join the DubClub. You get all those picks about 90 minutes before the videos drop. But you guys came here for some NBA picks. We got 5 of them today. I'm going to start with one of my favorite ones of the day. It is an over. I got 2 overs and 2 unders. Logan's got a game pick in there. Let's talk about Collin Sexton, one of my favorite picks of the day. Over 17.5 points, minus 115 on FanDuel. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a kind of a popular play because Sexton is, a guy that I feel like a lot of people have kind of backed over the past few months. He's been really good for the Utah Jazz. And obviously, they made some deals at the deadline, trading away Ochai Agbaji, Kelly Olynyk and whatnot, Simone Fontecchio. And you've seen Sexton's minutes be a little bit more stable than they were pre those trades, but still, Sexton's a guy that we've backed a couple times, and he's delivered for us. Now, Sexton, if you look at his numbers, he is over this line in 25 of his last 29 games when he plays at least 24 or more minutes. I mean, he's been playing closer to 26 to 30, depending on the game script for this one. And I really do anticipate him playing about 25, at least 25 minutes tonight. And if you look at the last 2 games, though, he's actually under in 2 straight. He played the minutes, but scored 17 and 16 points, missing it by 1 and missing it by 1 basket in the other game. Now, in those games, he only attempted 9 field goal attempts in each of them. Didn't shoot well, 3 for 9 and 4 for 9. Worth noting, did attempt 10 and 8 free throw attempts as well, though. So he was still being aggressive, getting to the free throw line, which we know he can do. And I expect him to do that once again tonight in a fast-paced matchup versus the Hawks. We got a high over-under here. And even with Trae Young sidelined for the next, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks, this is still a Hawks team that's going to push the pace. That's their nature. That's what they want to do. Even without Trae Young, they're still going to try to push the pace. Should give us some more possessions, and hopefully Sexton can deliver here for us. Now, not only is this a good matchup for Sexton, he can get to the rim and do his thing. You got Clint Capella playing a lot of drop coverage. It's also narrative play, too. Sexton actually was born in Marietta, Georgia. Now, if you don't know anything about Marietta, it's about 20 minutes outside of Atlanta, where this game will be played. That's also where I grew up, too. So we got that connection here. I really do think Sexton will deliver here. I mean, you think there is a chance he probably has some family and friends in attendance. Obviously, most of his games are normally in Utah, and hopefully he wants to put on a show for his friends and family out there. But even without that, I like the matchup regardless. I really think Sexton is a good spot tonight. He's going to be his over 17.5 points, one of my favorite player props of the day. Just playing it for 1 unit, but I really do like Collin Sexton tonight in Atlanta. Now, throwing it to Logan, he's been red hot. I think he's 9-2 on his game pick so far since we brought him back to the NBA. Obviously, he's a big staple of our MLB videos, which starts in exactly 1 month, or 1 month and a day. Logan, I need a winner. Where are you going today?
We look to stay hot on the spread picks, and my favorite bet of the day is going to be the Dallas Mavericks, plus 4.5, minus 110 odds on FanDuel, currently your best value there. Now, I would play this line down to 4. 3.5 is a little bit dicey because, honestly, all the value is gone on the 3.5 if that's where it does end up. But I do really like it at 4.5. I don't think you should get any problem getting it at 4.5 or 4. I see value in trusting the Mavs to bounce back against an elite Eastern Conference team. I hope they play up to their competition today, because last time we saw them, we faded them against the Indiana Pacers. I just said this is a bad spot. It's the start of a road road trip for Dallas, and sure enough, they came out and absolutely wet the bed. In this game, though, I do like Dallas, and I do like them with the points. Maybe you do sprinkle on the money line as well. Because you look at this Cleveland Cavs team, they're good record-wise, but they're bad ATS, especially ATS at home recently. They're only 1-4 against the spread at home in their last 5 games. So they haven't really been covering all that well at home, and they're facing an elite Western Conference team in this one. The strengths of the Cavs defense is the interior with Mobley and Jared Allen protecting the paint. But the Mavs are a 3-point heavy team that does take a lot of jump shots, and it really expand the defense. Dallas is second in threes made and threes attempted per game. They're going to get their shots up for sure. Whether or not they fall today, that's anyone's guess, but I do know that that's the way I would personally attack this Cleveland Cavs team. I wouldn't go looking in the paint for a lot of looks. I just expand the perimeter game and draw them out there. On the season, Cleveland is 8th in defending the 3, but I love the playmaking of Luka and Kyrie on the perimeter today. I just think they're difference makers. Some things you can't account for in the box score, and I just think these two guys, if one of them is red hot, the other's obviously feeding them, and they're still able to just go in, give you that 1-2 punch you need, especially out there. Cleveland, too, has regressed in their last 10 games, just 16th in three-point made field goal percentage allowed in their last 10 games. So the fact that they're just middle of the pack, I think there's going to be some points. I think there's going to be some three-pointers raining down for the Dallas Mavs today. And Dallas could also get some mid-range looks because in their last 10 games, Cleveland is just 21st in field goal percentage allowed to the mid-range. So you have plenty of very capable scorers able to get in that mid-range game and hopefully make jump shots there, because you don't need to go at the body of Allen and Mobley. I mean, you can, but I still think there's more points to be had on the short game, on the mid range, and the 3-pointers today for Dallas. I think that's kind of our pathway to cover, and not a stat too. But I do want to mention, I like Dallas's roster a lot more than I do Cleveland. And that's just a highly controversial take. You could say whatever you want about that. But Dallas has depth and playmakers off the bench, like Hardy, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Gafford. These are guys that I really do like. You know, everyone's talking about this Mavs post-trade deadline team. They're a really good team. And I just think that Indiana game is going to prove to be an outlier. I think they come out very competitive in this one with a chance to win it. And Cleveland's depth is guys like Karis LeVert, who I love Karis LeVert. Don't get me wrong. He's an absolute bucket. Okoro and Niang. I just think bench for bench, I take the depth with Dallas all day long. And again, this is a personal opinion. No stats to back that up. It's just the eyeball test. I really do think Dallas is a very deep team, and I think they're a really good team. And if the big men on Cleveland want to feast in the paint, I'll concede that for Cleveland. I'm banking on the Mavs being able to trade twos on Cleveland's end for threes on their end. And that gets you really desperate when you're just getting threes rained down on you, and you can trade it for a layup or dunk on the other end. But then a lot of teams get uncomfortable. And even if this game does go a lot into the fast break points, which I could see it being, both teams are top 8 in fast break points, I still like Dallas's playmakers more, and I think they keep this game within the 4.5. Spider Mitchell can do what he wants. I just still think you've got an equal counterpunch on the other side with Kyrie and Luka Doncic. I think they're difference makers in this game, and I think Mavs plus 4.5. I think that's honestly too many points, and I think they do win. I think they cover for us. I think they definitely cover for us. But if they win this game, that would be a little extra icing on the cake. I'm riding the Dallas Mavs as my best bet today.
Spicy. I love the Mavs. I love the pick. Let's hope Logan can stay hot. Now I got 3 props to round it out. We're going to start with 1 over, then 2 unders. The first over is going to be probably one that you guys won't like a ton, which probably means it hits in the first half. Josh Giddey, over 8.5 points, minus 120 on Bet365. I would also take this at 9.5. I was considering taking the 10 plus points. It was about plus 110. I almost did that. I just ended up going with the 8.5 because, 1 point is a pretty big discrepancy there. Now, let's talk about this line because this is a little bit too disrespectful for me. Obviously, Giddey has not been what he was last year, and he hasn't been that great this year. But I still do think at home, this is a spot where I'm comfortable backing Josh Giddey. Now, we look at this matchup. It is a rematch of just what they faced a few days ago. In that last matchup versus Houston, just a few days ago, Giddey, 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting. He did nothing. But why? Well, because his teammates were cooking the heck out of the Rockets. SGA, 36. Chet had 19 in the fourth, 29 total. Jalen Williams, 22. And heck, even Lou Dort had 16 points. every single other starter was cooking. Giddey's kind of the odd man out. It's like, yeah, well, we're not really going to give you the ball. I think he had 2 points, like 9 rebounds and 5 assists. So still had some usage there. Went 1 for 5. Just obviously didn't make his shots, and his other teammates were cooking. What do you want him to do? Keep shooting? No, you're going to give it to your teammates who are cooking the team. Now, obviously, the Rockets lost that one by 13. Now they're going on the road. Do you expect them to keep the same defensive scheme they had in that last game? Probably not. And if I were the Rockets and I'm Ime Udoka, I'm saying, heck, Josh Giddey, you beat us from 3. They didn't let him attempt a single 3-pointer in that last game. Look, I would say, hey, bottom line, SGA, Chet, J-Dub, Lou Dort even, just cook the heck out of our defense. Let's make Josh Giddey beat us. That's exactly what we want tonight. And I really think he's got a good chance of getting some open looks tonight. And we've seen, you look at Giddey's is over to make 1 3-pointer is about minus 150 this season when he's made at least 1 3, which obviously they're saying is more likely to happen than not. When he does that, he's over in 86% of games and 93% of games at home, 14 of 15. This season, he's averaging a little over 11.3 points per game. He's over this line in 71% of games as is, including 75% at home, where he's averaging 12.6 points per game. Look, I'm okay taking a role player like this at home. I really think Giddey's got a good shot here. I mean, the last time I backed Giddey, which has only been really once this season, I think it was the first half cash. And this is also last game, the 6th game of the season where you saw Giddey score 5 or less points. In the previous 5 instances, he bounced back. He scored 9, 16, 7, 12, and 10 points going over in 4 of those 5 games where he just stunk up the joint. He's only actually scored 2 points or less twice this season. Obviously, the second time being the last game. And the previous one, which was like right at the beginning of the season, he ended up scoring 9 points in the game after, but he attempted 13 shots, just happened to shoot 4 for 13. So I think that's the spot where the Rockets are like, you know what, Giddey, screw you, man. You go beat us. Just because we just got cooked by everyone else. And hopefully that plays into our spot here. I really think Giddey's got a good chance at bouncing back. Scoring 2 points in like 25 minutes of action. That's unlike Josh Giddey. He should at least get pretty close to this line. Let's hope he makes some more shots to go over this line. And hopefully maybe he's making some threes for us, and that can help us out. Now I got 2 unders. This is the best part of the video. Obviously, yesterday's under didn't cash, but we've actually done really well on unders over the past, really like since January. We've been really good on unders. We got 2 of them today. As you guys know, as the season goes on, the lines get pretty sharp, and there's obviously always more ways to cash an under than there are to cash an over. But let's talk to these 2 unders and then get on out of here. The first one is going to be a guy that had a really good game yesterday. It's Cade Cunningham. I like his under 22.5 points, minus 105 on DraftKings. Now, if this line drops to 21.5, you can take that there. There are a lot of ways out for Cade tonight as the Pistons are on a back-to-back and having to travel from New York City to Chicago. And yesterday, Cade cooked the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks were a tough matchup. He cooked them. I just expect them to slow down a little bit here. Now, you look at the last 3 games, Cade has actually played really well going over in all 3, scoring 30, 26, and 32 points. Now, yesterday, I think it was 6 for 6, 7 for 7 from the field. And that's kind of been a theme the last 3 games. He shot above 50% in all 3. He's had 4 or more made threes in all 3. Obviously, if Cade Cunningham's making his shots, yeah, he's going to go over this line more often than not. But I just think that efficiency is going to slow down on a back-to-back here. We always see guys. I mean, heck, we just talked about Devin Booker just a few days ago. Guys on back-to-backs doesn't surprise you. One, if their team gets blown out, it is the Pistons. They could get blown out in any game. They're 11.5-point dogs to the Bulls of all teams. Number 2, if their efficiency just goes down. That's not a surprise either. Number 3, also throw that in there. Monty Williams is, I don't know what the hell he's doing as the Pistons head coach. He does whatever the heck he wants. So I think there's a lot of different ways here for Cade to go under regardless. And then you throw on top of that a little added layer. Chicago Bulls, tough matchup, last 15 games. 3rd fewest points per game allowed to point guards. Cade is going to see probably Alex Caruso defensively, an elite perimeter defender. And when he's not on him, I would assume it was going to be on him. And he's a pretty good defender too. So I think there's a lot of different ways here where Cade, sure, he might shoot a bunch of shots, but this is a tough matchup. And if he wants to go over on a back-to-back, sure, I'll live with it. But this is only his 2nd back-to-back game since December 16th. So he's only played 2 games on back-to-back days in literally like 3 months. And in the previous game, which he did on February 14th, he only scored 13 points, played 26 minutes, 5 of 11 shooting. So I think there's a lot of different ways here. The books also don't think he continues his scorching hot 3-point shooting this season. You look at his lines for under 2.5 made threes. It's roughly like minus 250. He's like plus 210 to make 3 threes. So they're like, all right, we don't really think it continues. And when he makes less than 3, he's averaged 19 points per game, going under in 65% of games, including 8 of his last 9, 72% of the time on the road. So, like, Monty Williams is a weirdo. He's been messing around with his minutes left and right. Obviously, the Pistons don't have a lot to play for this season. Heck, they have more to play for with Cade not on the floor, if they can count that in. But his last 4 games versus Chicago, 8, 22, 25, and 10 points. The only game going over, he played 40 minutes, which is something he really has not done recently. And especially, he's probably not going to do that on a back-to-back. So Cade Cunningham, go out there, play a couple minutes, do your normal, like some games you just like to get 3 fouls in the first quarter. You can go do that. Take the night off. We'll take your under 22.5 points. And then my 5th and final play of the day, to try to go 5-0 and dominate this Tuesday slate. It's going to be another under, and it is Andrew Wiggins this time, under 14.5 points, minus 125 on Bet365. Now, you can take this at 13.5. If you don't want to take that line there, there's a minus. This was available at 14.5 on a ton of different books. Worth noting that Wiggins has ended with 14 points on the dot, and I believe 2 straight games. So obviously there is a big difference there here for his hit rates. But let's talk about Wiggins, who's actually shooting the ball really well recently. He's actually made 2+ 3-pointers in 6 straight games. If you want to ride that trend, you're probably getting about plus 120, plus 130 value on him to make 2 threes. In fact, his under 1.5 threes is about minus 160. So playing the sportsbooks odds, which they're giving us, they're saying, hey, we really don't think he continues that streak of 2+ made threes. And it wouldn't surprise me either, because this is not a good matchup for him to shoot threes. And it also is just, they're on the road. He's played a lot of these games at home. Now you look at Wiggins, he's under this line in 31 of 35 games. 89% of the time when he makes 1 or less threes. He's averaging just 10.1 points per game in those games. Now, like I talked about, Wiggins is not a guy that's, hezzy pulling people. He's not really doing that. He's doing a lot of catch and shoot things off some actions that the Warriors are running. But this is not a great spot for catch and shoot. In fact, over the last 10 games, the Wizards, 3rd fewest catch and shoot threes per game allowed. Now, is it because their defense is good, or it's because their defense is so bad that you can get wherever you want and score wherever you please? Probably that part, but I still do think this is not the perfect spot for a lot of catch and shoot opportunities. And Wiggins just, he hasn't looked 100% healthy this year. He's looking better lately, like I said, shooting the ball well, but he's always due one of those games where he just stinks up the joint. And it could be here. And this is also a game where maybe he doesn't need to score a ton. He's not necessarily been the most aggressive guy on the court for the Warriors. The last 10 games, the Wizards have allowed, like I said, the 3rd fewest catch and shoot threes. This is also a spot where we see the Wizards could get blown out. They're 11-point underdogs. And also the Warriors are getting healthy. Chris Paul is projected back tonight. So another guy to throw into the rotation. I don't see him playing more than 30 minutes. And you've seen, he's been capped out about 30, 31 minutes. And this season, he's under in 78% of games when he plays 31 or fewer minutes. And he hasn't played more than 31 minutes since January 30th. And now they're basically fully healthy. So I think this is just a good spot to fade him. He's had 4 straight games where he shot above 50%. If he doesn't get close to 50%, maybe shoots in the 40s, probably soars under this line. Let's just hope Clay, Steph, or maybe even Kuminga gets going. I like Clay coming off the bench because he comes in and his main role is to score. So when he's out there, he's not sharing a lot of minutes with Steph. Instead, they're kind of rotating their minutes, and it's kind of worked out a little bit over the past, few games when Clay's been coming off the bench. So I like Andrew Wiggins. I like his under tonight. I know it's scary taking it under against the Wizards, but I just don't think this is a great spot for Wiggins. I think it's a good spot for the Warriors to put up some points. Sure, you can put up points against the Wizards, but let's just hope Wiggins is not the one doing the damage tonight. So those are 5 picks, all coming your guys' way. Wiggins under, Cade's under, Logan's pick of the day, Mavericks plus 4.5, and then our 2 overs, Giddy's over, and of course, the first pick of the day when we talked all about him, man. And I know a lot of people probably don't like the first pick, but I really do think that we got a good spot in backing our man. And you guys know who he is. Our man, Colin Sexton, in his return to Atlanta, Georgia. Those are 5 picks. Let's have a wonderful day. If we go 5-0, probably give away some money because that would be insane. Let's continue this 10-2 run. Hopefully, we'll be making you some money. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. Let's hope Logan can stay dialed in, and we will be back again tomorrow, hopefully with the brooms out and with the start of day 1 of the ladder challenge. I'll see you guys then. Peace.